And welcome back, folks. This is U.S. Home Talk, and it is Wednesday at noon Central Standard Time. We do appreciate you tuning in. Jason Walgrave here with Walgrave Real Estate Group and the Minnesota Real Estate Team at RE/MAX Advantage Plus. We've also got the great Marcus Walgrave with Hague Realtors out of the Sioux Falls, South Dakota real estate market, the great state of South Dakota. And we have there's no equal to this next guy. No equal. Mortgage Michael Overson with Luminate Bank. Woo! Coming at you. And then, of course, we have our incredible, amazing producer, Evan Little. Evan is not only the man, the myth, the legend that makes us happen every week, but he is our insurance guru. He knows all things insurance with Paragon. And so, folks, we appreciate you tuning in today. Got a big show planned. It's going to be a two-part topic, and so it's going to take two shows to do. Marcus reminded me before the show that sometimes I'm long-winded and I need to shorten it up. So we'll see what we can do about that today.
Make two shows out of it.
That's great advice,
Make two
Marcus.
shows out of it. Make two shows out of it.
Right,
only a
Ovi? Am I
brother.
wrong?
No, you're spot on.
Only a brother
I
can make that comment of like, look, dude, you got to shut up and you gotta shorten these things up, right? That comes from me. The message is different, right? But when it comes from your brother, right, it's like, okay, now it's from my own brother. It must be true. I gotta do it.
I mean, Overson, you're basically the fifth brother in the Walgrave clan. So, I mean,
True.
You could also pass that, what do we call that?
Brother from another mother?
Constructive criticism. Is that what that's called?
Yeah, very tactful with it.
We all enjoy that. We enjoy that. Bring it. Folks, best way to get a hold of us is our website anytime, 24 hours a day, ushometalk.com. You can connect with Marcus, Mike, myself, Evan, all of our fantastic U.S. Home Talk partners. We have a real estate line set up. You can text in your questions or call this number anytime to connect with any of us here on the show, 612-234-7585. We love comments, questions, all things real estate. Shoot those over and we'll get them answered right away. That number is also the 24-hour real estate hotline number, so you can call at any time outside of the show and connect with all of us. And then Facebook and YouTube, however you are connecting with us, you can ask questions in the comment section. We'll get those answered as well. I think a lot of folks are streaming us on the streaming platforms outside of the noon time on Wednesdays. We do appreciate however it is that, and whenever it is that you do tune in. And, if you've got show ideas, we send them over. You've got partnership ideas. If you look at our ushometalk.com website and there's a service company that you need that we don't have, let us know what you're looking for. We'll go out and we'll interview them, we'll vet them, and we'll make them a part of U.S. Home Talk to make sure that all of your needs, all of your real estate needs are taken care of. So today's topic, first-time home seller. You bought a home, maybe it was 2, 3, 5, 10, 15 years ago. Now you're a first-time home seller. A whole number of things that we got to do to get your house prepared to sell for the first time. And we want to meet with people really as soon as possible. So even if you're thinking about selling next fall or next spring, or you're thinking about selling 2 or 3 years from now, we want to meet with you right now, and let's talk about what we can do to prepare your home to show it in the best possible light, and to get as many buyers through the door. It's all about exposure. Marcus and I, our marketing plans, that's what we're experts in, is exposing your home to the most potential buyers, which in turn will sell it for the highest amount in the quickest time. So today we're going to be talking about, today and next week, we're going to be talking about, as a first-time home seller, what that to-do list is. So let's get cracking. Remove personal items. So this one is there's some controversy on this one, specifically around family photos. You'll watch a lot of shows on TV, or a lot of agents will say, take them all down, everything personal, all the pictures, everything. I don't give that advice. I think that personal photos are fine. If there's an extraordinary amount, meaning you've got kindergarten through 12th grade on every step going up the stairs or down the stairs, that's a little too much. But
A little much.
little much. But I've also, I think personal items are fine. If there's too many of those, specifically stuff, right? If you've got too much stuff, you got to put it away, whether it goes in the closet or the garage, or even better, a pod or storage unit. If you can clean out those personal items, it allows buyers to imagine that home being theirs. If you got too much stuff, too many personal items, they're distracted, and it's harder for them to imagine that.
Yeah, I think Jason, right? More of a privacy topic that was talked about, and I think that that's a great part about like today and today's modern technology we have from our real estate photographers. Mm-hmm. They have the software. They can say, hey, if you want me to put a Hallmark family on that picture frame, I can. Or if you don't worry about turning on the fireplace. It's July. We get it. It's hot out. We'll just put some flames on there for you. Yeah. And so that's where like you can leave up some of the family photos. Only the people who are scheduling private showings are going to see those photos, but then the online presence can be filtered with, maybe some AI family photos and kind of protect you that way. So
that's a great point, Marcus. I've had clients over the years where, we do the photos. We always, we have professional photos, nothing but high definition. The best real estate photographers in town, that's who we use. And so when we get those, we send that package over to our sellers, and we say, go through them, let me know if there's something you don't like, or, you want specifically. And then sometimes sellers say, I love the great room photo. Let's take that I don't want my personal pictures of me and my kids or my spouse or my family. I don't want those online, like you just said, Marcus. That it's fine when private showings are occurring, but they just don't want it for the internet world. And, there's some weirdos out there, right? They don't want them to see that. So we can do that. We could change those. We can blur them out. Right now we're doing a little modification on yards, on the grass, because this is not a good time to highlight your yard in most cases. But the yards are going to look fantastic in 2 weeks once they've been watered and weed and feed and all that good stuff. So we can do stuff to really present the property in the way that it should be, in a way that it will be, say, in 2 weeks if you're talking about exterior stuff. And so we can make those changes.
And for the folks listening too, so we're based out of Minneapolis, and then that's where me and Jason are at, right? The Minneapolis metro area. Marcus is in Sioux Falls, South Dakota area. So we're in the northern Midwest there. We don't have the green grass. If you're in more southern states where you've gotten some, more sunlight and stuff like that, you're probably sitting just fine on the exterior stuff. Yeah. But if we make any comments of how our grass is brown, that's because we're up here where it literally got to 34 degrees last night and we had frost warning still, and it's May. So
hey, you guys speak for yourself. I've been mowing already.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had it mowed. We've had it mowed.
I'm not. I'm gonna admit this. I've mowed the front yard 4 times already. So the rest of the yard's only been mowed once, but I'm kind of, I like the lines and and so.
So going back to the personal stuff here. So question, right? How about unique personal items? A unique personal item, okay? I'm thinking of the family or maybe it's the husband and wife couple. It's like, what's the like the painting where it's just the naked dude, he's just got a leaf covering his junk, and he's like, is it David or something?
David,
the painted David,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
What happens if like a married couple like reenacted that and they had like the mural of them doing that up on the wall? Does that need to come down, or do you leave that up there?
No, that needs
first photo on the listing.
First photo on the list.
I would recommend taking that one down.
Okay.
Custom art included.
Some stuff that I've seen that I've recommended to remove, stripper poles. We've had a number of stripper poles.
Dancer poles.
And that's a Pilates pole.
It's an exercise pole.
It's exercise pole. Yes, absolutely.
I think I've had like 3 of those over the years. One seller, she's like, she just like, well, it's an exercise pole, and she was very adamant about keeping it up, which she did, and it was entertaining some of the comments and questions that I got. But I also had one in the master bedroom, and it was a huge. I mean, how wide's a master bed? Got to be 6 feet or 7 feet wide or something.
At least
Yeah.
6. Yeah, it seems
This
like.
Six
this
and a half,
thing was
7.
probably 6 by 6, and it was a naked painting of her, and that was she was pretty proud of it, and it was a nice painting and everything, and I'm just like, hey, we probably should take this one down. So yeah, unique stuff. The other one, Mike, that comes to mind is a house that I sold a few years ago. The guy was a avid hunter. I mean, he was into it. And so I go into it's a Rambler, go into the basement, and it was like I was at Shields. You know that display at Shields with
Oh, yeah.
all the I'm not
Ace
he had a
Ventura.
bear, wolf. I mean the whole there must have been 30 plus stuffed, whatever they call
Animals.
those animals.
The room of death. They're mounts.
Yeah.
Mounts.
The mounts.
Yeah,
The
the
mounts.
mounts. The trophies. And I'm like, whew. I mean, it was cool, right? I mean, I don't hunt personally. I have a lot of people that I know hunt, and nothing wrong with hunting. But this guy was into it, and I said, hey, I think it's just it's too much, and so I didn't tell him to take everything down, but he did, about 80% of it he put into storage.
Hey, there you go.
Okay. Okay.
And then it was,
It's got to go anyways. You're selling.
it's got to, but this was, I'm not
No.
kidding. It was like I was at Shields, and so yeah, Mike, if it's super unique, and we definitely appreciate a lot of cool things like that, right? But what's the goal? Goal is to sell your house, and
sell
so
the
you got to
house.
keep in mind, folks that are coming in, those personal items can be very, very distracting, and that's not what we want. First-time home sellers, that's what we're talking about today, folks. And we're talking about to-dos, our to-do list. It's a pretty big one. It's going to take 2 full shows. So this week and next week, we're going to be talking about first-time home sellers to-dos. Next on our list, kind of the similar, clear the clutter. I think the longest stay for a seller that I've worked with, they were in their home for 56 years.
Whoa.
They had been in that house for 56 years.
That's impressive.
It was impressive. I mean, it was, the kids and the grandkids and the great grandkids. I mean, there was beautiful stories about everything that had gone on in that house. But so much clutter, and, knickknacks in every corner and way too many things on the wall and the counters and, and just stuff, right? The clutter is probably one of the most common recommendations that we give, that Marcus and I give, is to eliminate the clutter. I mean, it goes back to the personal items, right? There's too many of those. It's distracting. Buyers can't imagine that being their house with too much clutter, right? Photos aren't good.
Or like I said, they just get distracted, right? I mean, they if they're seeing your house, there's a good chance they're going to see maybe a couple more after that. They may be on a 4, 5, 6 house tour event, and like they're on schedule. They got 30, 45 minutes to spend at your home. They get distracted for 15, 20 minutes, enjoying all of the knickknacks and things like you have out there, and then they don't even realize they missed the powder bath that was right in the foyer or the front door that was like what they wanted. They're like, oh, well, it didn't have that bathroom. It's like, oh, I actually did. You just kind of were a little distracted. So, I mean, you got to let them focus on the home.
Yeah, for sure. Folks, talking about first-time home sellers the to-do list. Next on our list we got here, upgrade the lighting. And this one's important, even if it's just the light bulbs. I can't tell you how many homes that we go into, and there's different bulbs. You got LED bulbs, and you got the old bulbs, and you got, and it's distracting again, right? And so at minimum, you got to make sure all the bulbs are the same, or at least all the same in the same room. Updating lighting can really change the whole feel. I'm talking about under cabinet lighting in the kitchen, or upper cabinet lighting. I mean, there's so many cool lighting technologies that have come in the last decade, whether it's the smart lights, you control with your phone, and different colors, and of course dimmers and all of that. But lighting can, the lighting can change the the feel of the house completely, right? Whether you're talking about front elevation lighting, you got up lighting. More light is generally better than less. But at minimum, we want to make sure all those bulbs are the same type, same style.
Yeah. Why do casinos have flashing, blinking lights all over the place, right?
Right.
People like them. It attracts
like
people. It
'em.
looks good to them, right? That's what
It
they do
does.
it. So, yeah. So you don't, I mean, going into a dark house that just seems dim and dark and stuff like that, right? It's just that feel thing. It's kind of like the smells thing, right? It's like kind of one of those off, kind of like not mainstream things, but kind of off things that actually make a big impact. And so, yeah, lighting. I mean, the house that we moved in, that we lived in before this house, was the same way. It was dark.
Yeah.
It was an
Yes.
86 build, sectioned off. Every room was sectioned off, and like one room had like one light in it. And it's like it was super dark, right? The dining room had like one light in it, super dark. One of the living rooms it was super dark in there. And so that's like literally the first thing we did was swap out the light in that thing, and it seemed like a completely different house.
It does. And if you go back, there's probably 70s, 50s, 60s, 70s. A lot of those homes didn't even have lights in the bedrooms. They had the switch, that you'd plug your lamp into or whatever, but there's not even overhead lighting. They've got the lighting technology now. They've got, you think of the old can lights, those were more invasive and took more. Now they got these ones that just pop up in there that are LED, a lot more affordable. Electricians can come in and change the whole feel of a room. So upgrade the lighting is a big one. Folks, talking about first-time home sellers, the to-do list. We're going to go after this next one. We're going to jump into our good friend Jeff O'Brien with the legal minute, but let's do this one first. This one's important. So important. Fix pet issues.
Oh.
Okay, guys, look, I love dogs.
I got two.
I love dogs. I like cats. I love dogs. And pets are important. I think they're important for folks and families, and so I'm a big fan of all that. Pets can only hurt the sale of your home, and it really has to do a lot with the, some of the smells, right? And so I've been into homes with buyers where the house is perfect, but it smelled like cat, or it smelled like dog, or smelled like something else, some other animal. Bird. That is a deal killer for many, many, many buyers, right? And so we're not suggesting, get rid of, Rover, or anything like that. But if there are any pet issues, they got to be addressed. We had a seller that they got their house just went on the market last week. They got a new puppy, and the puppy likes to chew. And so the puppy's chewing corners on the carpet and, chewing, and so we sent out our carpet guy, and he made the carpet repairs. He was able to patch some stuff, stretch some stuff. And so, but, that to a buyer, not appealing. Even though it's a relatively easy fix, I think the scent or the smell stuff is a bigger deal. Some people are allergic to cats, or they're allergic to dogs and stuff. And so if you got any pet issues, you got to take care of those.
And I was going to say with the pet issue thing too, it can be probably a lot of work in some cases, I would imagine, to address those certain issues,
Yep.
right? But you want to get it done right the first time. Ideally, right, you would have one day of showings, right? Maybe you have 5, 6, buyers coming through.
Yep.
And it sells on that first day, and then you can be done, right? Otherwise, if you go through that first weekend of showings and you did all this work on the pet stuff, right? But you got about 75% of it done.
Right.
You don't get an offer with that first round of showings. More than likely, the next weekend, when the next weekend comes around, you're gonna have to do stuff again because you gotta re-vacuum. You're gonna have to redo this and redo that, right? And
Yep.
so it's like, just do it right the first time. Hopefully the first round of showings you get on the first weekend you're live, you get an offer, and then you can be done, right? You can be done with that part of it.
Mike, that's a huge point. You got to do it right the first time, because if it's not presented in the best possible light it can be, what if that buyer that was going to buy your house is now gone because of that one thing? Because they smelled dog or they smelled cat. Everything else is perfect, and so you have every single person that comes to tour your house, that comes with a showing or even an open house, that's an opportunity, right? And you don't want to lose out on that for something that you could have done by just preparing and going through a to-do list here. Let's do a legal minute. We'll come back and do a few more.
This is Jeff O'Brien, attorney with Hush Blackwell, with the U.S. Home Talk Legal Minute. Have you ever wondered why you have to fill out a property disclosure statement when you sell your home? Of course, it is because the law requires you to do so. Subject to certain exceptions, Minnesota law requires a seller of residential real property to complete a written disclosure form to prospective buyers before signing a purchase agreement to sell the home. The seller must disclose all material facts of which the seller is aware of that could adversely and significantly affect an ordinary buyer's use and enjoyment of the property, or any intended use of the property of which the seller is aware. The disclosure must be made in good faith and be based upon the best of the seller's knowledge at the time of the disclosure. In addition, some cities have truth in housing requirements, which require a seller to have an inspection of the property by an authorized inspector prior to listing the property for sale. The inspection results must be made available to prospective buyers in the same manner as the disclosure statement. In order to find out what cities have these truth in housing obligations, contact your city offices or ask your realtor. This is Jeff O'Brien, attorney with Hush Blackwell, with the U.S. Home Talk Legal Minute.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate that. Always bring such good stuff to the show. I like how he ended that with, ask your realtor. Good job, Jeff. Good job. Talking about first-time home sellers, the to-do list. This is a two-part topic. This week and next week, we'll be talking about that. Let's go back to our list here. Update paint. Folks, it is, I'm not a painter. Right. I think that, a lot of, I'm not, Mike. I know you're surprised.
Oh.
I know you're surprised, but I can tell you that paint and not necessarily the entire house or the whole thing. There are rooms sometimes that need to be painted. And whether it's super, bold colors or you got a whole bunch of kids like we do and they've just banged the heck out of the wall. Simple paint can really make a big difference and change the whole presentation of the home.
And you get that new paint smell, which
Hey.
we talked about smells and how they can kill a deal. What's your thought on new paint smells? To me, it can only help you, I would imagine.
I like new paint smells. I like new carpet smells. I like new paint smells.
Yep, those are the two that are, and it just
Okay
kind
to
of lets a buyer know, like, first impressions, right? They go in there like, okay, yep, I don't have to do a lot of painting, I can smell it, or this is carpet's been replaced, I can smell it, and it has that. It's going through their head, and they're checking things off that they are not going to have to do when they buy and move in.
Yep.
So it gets them excited, and you pick up that smell as soon as that door swings open.
Yep. It's good. All right, folks, talking about first-time home sellers, the to-do list. What else we got here? Oh, this one is, we talk about this often, too. You got to do a deep clean, a thorough cleaning. We generally recommend just hiring a company. Come in and do a deep clean. We got a couple different partners that we use that specialize in pre-listing cleaning. And it's everything from the ceiling fans to the vents to the Mike and Jen, they're very particular on this one. The dust on top of the trim, make sure we get that dust off.
That's my wife right there.
Yep, right. So, look, we don't see things in our house because we're exactly.
She's got the white glove on and she's like running her finger on.
Mike, this one's okay.
But
But it again sends that message that you cared for the house, and if your house is clean. And you had it deep clean and you had the windows done, a buyer's going to come in and they go, yeah, they took care of this house. It's this clean. They probably took care of the roof and the furnace and the AC. And so it presents better. A thorough deep clean, very, very important.
Probably the most important thing.
Like if you were going to be one of the most important things. I agree with you, Mike.
I mean, if you look at that list, right, and it's like, look, if you had to do one thing on this list, if you could only do one thing on this list that we're talking about, right? Yep. Which one would you say, seller? That's the one. If you can only do one thing on this list, that's the one that has to be done.
Yeah, it's going to be deep clean.
It's got to be the cleaning one, right?
Deep clean followed by declutter.
Yeah.
And it's like those two things are an absolute must on every single house list.
And those two things, right? I mean, with the exception of time, you're talking about a very minimal cost. You can go to the big box store and you can get your cleaning supplies if you don't already have it. Spend a little bit of money, and then if you have clutter, hopefully a lot of it is just junk and it can get thrown away or boxed up, and it's just time. You got to just put your time in. get the elbow grease out, and that'll make a world of difference.
Yeah, and deep cleaning can include an exterior wash too. An exterior power wash. It depends on where you live, and some homes you don't notice it that much, but plenty of homes that we've been to, and I'm just looking up, and I'm like, dang, that'd have been really nice if they would have power washed the the siding and the and the eaves and the soffits and fascia, because and again it's a time thing. If you don't have the time, I mean, there's certainly plenty of services out there where they'll come and they'll do all that. It's important. It's really beneficial to sellers when they do that. Folks, talking about first-time home sellers, the to-do list. We're going to do a couple more here, and then we'll finish up during next week's show. Next on our list, this one is interesting. I'm seeing more and more of it. My opinion on this has changed in that I did not think this was a great idea. Go back 5-10 years ago and before. My opinion has changed. I think it's a good idea. Get a home inspection.
Oh, yeah.
Get a home inspection before you list your house. Now, what does that do? Number one thing it does is it lets you know if there's any major issues with the house and minor issues with the house that you can then address. And so we've had sellers that have done this in the past. I love it. We have a full home inspection come in. You get that report. They're looking through it. Most of the items I had no idea because they're small items, and I didn't even know about that. But then they go and they send a handyman in. They fix everything. And then they have that inspection report updated with all the repairs, right? And now we have an inspection report that we can include with the marketing material. What does that do? Gives buyers peace of mind. It also gives them an opportunity to make an offer not contingent on the inspection, because you just did an inspection, right? And so
and you saved the money.
And
a lot of buyers were going to plan on spending that money anyway, so
yeah,
they're getting excited.
They're getting excited. It's like, holy smokes, these guys had an inspection, and they, there were some things that came up, and they went and fixed them all. Again, it puts you in a position where buyers can make a really, really solid offer. Curb appeal. Got to update the curb appeal. When I'm laughing because there's most developments now. The city has come in and said, okay, we've got requirements. You got to put whatever, a couple trees or your bushes or whatever. And so a lot of times new construction landscaping, it's real neat and it's real clean because it's all new, right? But maybe if your home is 10 or 15 years old, maybe that bush in the front is no longer a bush. It is like a tree that covers 25 or 30% of your front elevation. Look at that, because you may want to, and I know this won't make some people happy. You may want to just take that bad boy out and then start over with a nice little one, because front elevation and curb appeal is often overlooked. And you got to keep in mind that is the first thing that people see when they pull up to your house is the front elevation, the curb appeal. So little things, mulch, trimming up some trees, maybe changing out some bushes, all of those things can be super helpful. You guys would agree?
You gotta take care of the big bush that's in the front of the house. You can't just let that thing rock. No. Because the thing is like, if it's got that big, it's most likely rubbing on the siding. That the moisture between the plant and the house doesn't ever dry out, so the siding's kind of getting beat up a little bit. And you talk about those trees. I mean, at the very least, maybe knock down some of the lower branches. How many times if you have a tree in there, in that front bedroom, or maybe it's a front room that's an office, and it had a nice view of the neighborhood, and then now it's just all
Tree.
bush.
It's just
all
too much.
tree. Yep.
Don't let the big bush distract from the beauty of your front elevation. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
That is great advice.
Folks, we've been talking about first-time home sellers, the to-do list. We appreciate you tuning in this week. We're going to come back next week and finish up these recommendations. Be sure to check out our website, ushometalk.com. Our real estate hotline number, always available 24/7, is 612-234-7585. Call, text anytime. We'll get your questions answered. Hope you guys have a great week.